Welcome everyone to CW Live. I'm Keila Flores, the Associate Editor at IABC. Today I'll be talking with Jim Shaffer. Jim is an internationally recognized business advisor, leadership coach, author, speaker, and leader of the Jim Shaffer Group, a team of seasoned advisors devoted to improving strategy execution through strong leaders and engaged people. And in September, he will share his insights with IABC in the form of a workshop titled How to Add Measurable Value as a Strategic Advisor. So welcome, Jim. We're glad to have you.
Well, Keila, thank you very much. I'm always glad to be in the presence of the great people in San Francisco.
Oh, thank you. So then we'll just get started. The first question that we have, why do you think it's important for a strategic advisor to add measurable value?
Well, actually, I think that everybody in the organization ought to add measurable value. I come out of a Lean Six Sigma background, so it's important, I think, that everybody in the organization is adding more than what they're spending. I think particularly over the years, the communication people have been a cost center, and that could potentially be a drain on value. So what I've been saying to a lot of the communication people, and I've been working with clients in this area, is to help them start to create gains that are bigger than the cost of the gains. When we do that, then we're adding value. But when we're spending $1 and only getting 50 cents back, we are not adding value. And I think a lot of communication people, HR people, finance people, any discipline, is vulnerable if they are not contributing value as they can. The beauty about it is there are some solutions to it and some ways that we can make that problem go away, the cost center problem. And that's what we intend to do with our strategic advisor workshop, is to try to help people understand the skills and the tools and the processes that they can use to start to add value. This got started when I was with Towers Perrin, now Towers Willis Watson, and I was asked to be one of a number of people that would serve as architects for the advanced consulting skills workshop that we taught at the consulting firm. I have taken that and used it in a lot of workshops since I left Towers Perrin when my book came out, and this is just taking it up to the next level with IABC Academy, and I think it's going to be an excellent program to help people have the tools that they need.
Great. Okay, perfect. Question number 2. Do you think our definition or expectations of measurable value has evolved recently? And if so, how?
Well, I don't think, Keila, that the definition of measurable value has changed. I think that is essentially what I said, and that is when you're creating something that's greater than the cost of creating it, you're adding value. I think what's changed is a lot of customer expectations. We want things faster, better, cheaper. I was working with an organization in Texas not long ago, and they were having trouble with on-time delivery. And we did some interviews with employees. We interviewed some customers, and customers were saying, we don't really want it any faster, but we want it when we ask for it. Just like Amazon has spoiled us, or Zappos has spoiled us. They're delivering it overnight. We're starting to have a perception that everybody can do that. So we put together a team in this organization that the communication people led to identify where the root causes were of the on-time delivery. And it had to do with moving raw materials into machining into polishing, and then polishing to shipping and receiving, and then out the door. There were communication breakdowns through that value stream, and once we fixed that, got to the root causes of it, communication actually helped improve on-time delivery from 67 to 92%. And because the on-time delivery got better, more customers bought products from them, and sales went up 30%. So there are tremendous opportunities for communication people to do similar kinds of work like that.
Sure. Okay, great. Question number 3. Your approach to adding measurable value mentions teaching communication professionals to ask the right questions to create a real ROI. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, Keila, a number of years ago, it was pretty common for somebody to come to a communication person and say, I need a brochure about safety to make people safe. And the communication people would be inclined to say, what color do you want that to be, and when do you need it, and all these responsive answers. And today, I think what we need to be doing is almost what our doctors do. When I say I have a particular pain in a certain part of my body, she says, well, let me have a look, or let's do some diagnostic work. If I were to come into her and say, I need ampicillin, she would say, well, let's have a look before I prescribe that. I think communication people have the same opportunity to help guide their business clients and business partners, to help them understand that maybe the green brochure, the lacking green brochure, is not what's causing our OSHA recordables or our accidents in our operations. Maybe it's something else. And that one of the things that we're going to teach in the course is, how do you ask questions? How do you help people do root cause analysis so they're fixing things that go away forever instead of fixing symptoms? So I think that asking the client or the business partner what the right questions will help them get to results a lot faster and easier.
Okay, great. In your workshop, you'll discuss connecting the communication strategy to the business strategy to drive results that matter. Could you describe why it's important for leaders to connect these two when looking to add value to their approach?
Yeah. For many years, communication people were responsible for formal channels, and they distributed news and information. But there's a bigger strategy in the organization that they ought to be connecting to, because a lot of communication breakdowns impede our ability to execute our strategy. And so communication people, instead of just going out and doing social media tweets and brochures, booklets, town hall meetings, and stuff like that, need to step back and say, okay, what part of the strategy can I help execute? I'll give you an example. It was with FedEx. We did a communication assessment for FedEx, and the results said effectively communication people wanted to do more that really affected the business. And the leadership said the same thing. We want our communication people doing more for the business. So Terry Simpson, who at that time headed internal communication, said to her president, Dave Bronzak, said, where are the opportunities that we can really improve and help the business make more money? And he said, well, we've been trying to get into exports for a long time. The U.S. markets are saturated. Maybe you could help there. Long story short, we went to Los Angeles, where there was a tremendous opportunity to increase exports with FedEx. We found 3 communication problems that were impeding them. Number one is customers didn't even know they were in the export business. 2, operations people and salespeople weren't communicating well enough. And thirdly, there was an incentive plan that was communicating to couriers that you should return to station safely. That's your major goal, not hang around and try to sell export sales or anything else while you're there. So we put together a team of people, about 15 people representing various pieces of FedEx, put together a plan that would address those 3 root causes. And within 4 months, we had a 23% increase in export sales with a 1,447% return. We celebrated that, and Dave Bronzak made a very big deal out of it and said, who wants to be next? About 20 stations raised their hands, and we could pick 5. We got Seattle, Denver, Chicago, Miami, and New York. Did the same kind of thing with them, and within another 4 months, we had a $6.1 million increase in sales and a 1,550% ROI. That is what communication people can do to help implement the business strategy with their communication strategy.
Wow, it's very impressive. And so our last question for the day is, are there 2 to 3 questions that you think professionals should ask themselves when developing a business strategy to add measurable value?
Absolutely. I think the first question is this: where is the best opportunity, or where are the best opportunities to improve performance by better managing communication? And note that I didn't say where are the best opportunities to improve communication, because communication is a means to an end. And so what we care about is the performance of the business, operating or financial. And so where is that place? In the case of FedEx, they selected Los Angeles export sales. In the case of another client, they picked that on-time delivery in Texas. So there are places where there are huge opportunities. They're everywhere. So what is the best opportunity? Where the best opportunity to improve results by better managing communication? The second is, what's the size of the problem? What's it going to cost to make the root causes go away? Is there sufficient or acceptable return on investment? If the answer is yes, go for it. If the answer is no, move on to something else. But that's a very, very good way that a lot of communication people have started small and then grown the improvement efforts throughout a number of plants or office buildings, branch offices or whatever. Start small with a focused effort, get a success, and you'll find, just like FedEx did, that you're creating pull for your services. 5 people got to do what Los Angeles did because they said, hey, the guy in Los Angeles is making more money. I want to do the same thing. So that's a good way to create pull for a service that is adding value.
Yeah, that sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, thank you again for joining us on this episode of CW Live. And to our viewers, you can learn more about his Strategic Advisor Workshop by following the link that we have in the description.
Thank you, Keila. And we're going to be covering all the things that I just talked about over a period of 4 hours. We're going to be covering all of that. So the solutions will be in the course.
Wonderful. Okay, well, everyone check out the link then.
Thank you.
Then, Jim.
Okay.
Bye-bye.